I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen. I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering. Negativity is a plague for the mentally weak. No mercy, all I got is working. Never stop searching, never quite so thirsty. I'm toxic and psychotic, with this logic you can't stop it. It's been chronic since I was a boy, so neurotic and chaotic.
I'm built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas. Don't never stop competing, yeah.
I've been doing this, I'm on it, I just wanna be iconic. Sipping on a gin and tonic, got me going off when I'm on this topic, yeah. If I ever play, I want it, you know that I'm always honest. Stay away from those who are toxic, keep them out your face, no way, you don't want them, yeah. Don't try to drain my energy, the enemy is everything. It's mentally, unhealthily, spreading like a rare disease. But I won't let it get to me, I don't need your therapy. I can leave a legacy of leading by intensity. Come on, we can fight this, freedom is priceless. Spread just like a virus, living in a crisis. Do you feel courageous? Do you seek greatness? Trust me, you can take it, go on and take your aim, yeah.
I'm built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas. Don't never stop competing, yeah.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, yeah.
Turn on your mind now, tune into the feed. We're planting digital flowers from a single tiny seed. Yeah, power to the collective in the data and the soul. The hive mind's getting louder, finding voice and control.
When we get to the FBI, we don't know who did the work. You heard that any of that information is redacted. We don't know who did the work. It's a giant secret. We know that by the time the FBI gets involved, the profile, the text file, that's a snip to use to try to identify somebody is more than twice as big when it gets to the FBI from Othram. We don't know how.
I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me. An open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round. Welcome to the freak show, the best in town.
What is going on, Hive? I hope everybody's having a great day. I'm very excited for this stream. to put it bluntly, if you are somebody that gets rattled or offended when you think past the headlines, you question the narrative, and you're just not afraid of being called a conspiracy theorist, or if you're worried about being disrespectful or offending someone when you're just trying to find the truth, this is not going to be the stream for you. But if you are somebody that wants the truth and is not afraid to ask a question to get you to the truth, then you have found your people. Welcome to the Hive Mind. I have so much to say just in regards to the stuff that we are starting to hear on the audio and the video surrounding the Idaho 4 case, that you can see my theme. I have the prosecution, I have the prosecutor, and I have all of the investigators and LE up there. It's like, you guys took an oath. Honor it. Because at this point, I'm convinced they all knew this entire time. They let the mainstream media continue to run with it, feed the false narrative, and they're like, well, we don't need to correct it. As long as we know internally, they can just go hog wild with it, right? So, anyways, with that being said, I'm going to say what's up to everybody. Marcy, good to see you. That's exactly right. That's, you know what? I should have had that in the intro as well, Brendan. He pled guilty. It's over. The case is over. I could have told you that 2 years ago. What's going on, Chrissy Angel? Trade with Journal. What up? Monica, Dina. Yeah, to put it bluntly, Kaylee, you're right. Dude, of course they do. They intentionally framed him. What's up, Carrie? HVAC works. Good to see you. Crowned. Gang, gang. What up? TJ Joe. UFO dog. So I creep from Berdino's basement. Love it. ATL Drew. Your Royal Aviations. That'd be a badass thing to get on a jersey. What up, Jeremy? How are you doing? Teresa, my Wisconsin neighbor. Nurtured. Ever since I've not been able to pronounce that name the first time, it pops up in my chat as it's flowing through, and I see it the last like 3 nights. Good to see you again. UK Karen. 5 Green Acres. Fellow Cheesehead. Fiona, how are you doing? Kentucky Chris. Monique from Oklahoma. Janet. Monica's in Montana. River Bear Teacup. Germila, good to see you. Tinfoil hat Claire's chilling in the AC. What's up, Gabby girl? Jamie's in Sherman, Texas. Social media causes brain damage. Sue from South Africa, good to see you. Sherlock Romes goes, case just started, baby. I love it. I love it. Aurora, how are you? Stacy, good to see you. Carrie. Aurora's tuning in from New Hampshire. Well, Teresa, we can show you some evidence. It's just not going to point to Bryan Kohberger. And you know what that means. People are going to stick their heads right up their own ass again. Sorry for the language. It's just, I'm getting sick of it. I'm getting so sick of it. It's hard not to crash out and rant about it when, to go back to Brandon's comment about, he pled guilty. It's over. It's just like, okay. I can't even have a conversation with you. I can tell by that comment, there is no further point in either of us wasting our time having this talk. It's kind of like when you see somebody that you kind of knew back in the day and you randomly run into them and you give like the little 30-second small talk, and one of you says something like, oh, dude, yeah, I'll text you. Let's totally get together. And as you walk away, there should be like a narrator that's just like, and they both knew neither person was going to text each other, because it's like, it's very similar in the fact of there's no point in having this conversation. We both know we're never going to agree on it. So, oh man, Mike, time to wake up. The Hive Mind's on. Time for the daily dose of red pill. That's exactly right, Beck. Oh, man. Where's everybody tuning in from this evening? I was reading out a few of them. Copenhagen. I see Kentucky. Oh, my chat froze. My mouse, rather. Kansas City. Christina says, I love that saying, crash out. My 12-year-old says that. That's awesome. Washington State, Ohio, Jersey, Canada. Creepy Walmart. Good to see you, CJ, and I will continue to do so. Sweden. Chantilly Lace with the resting bitch face is at her mama's house. Alberta, Canada. Spokane. Massachusetts, South Georgia, Italy. Is this the first time we've had somebody from Italy in the Hive? If so, welcome. I want to go to Italy so bad. Zealand, Denmark. Good to see you. Southern Illinois. Chrissy's on her bedroom floor. Dina's in the RV. Gina's in New Jersey. NorCal girls in Bay Area, California. The Hive Down Under. Secret Soul Survivor. That's a cool name. Tasmania. Love it. Amanda B from West Virginia. It's been a while since I feel like I've done that. Maybe like 2 days. War Eagle, North Carolina, Colorful Colorado, 816, Florida, Scotland. Robin said she was ready to crash out on her work computer today. Sometimes you just need to crash out. Honestly, I feel like it's good for your soul. It's healthy. Get a bunch of emotion out. Oh, man. Well, okay. We are going to get into it. Thank you all for being here this evening. Like I said, if this is your first time in the Hive, this is a contrarian thinking live stream where we're not afraid to think past the headlines. So if you get offended or rattled on behalf of others, this is not going to be the stream for you. But if you're known as the conspiracy theorist in your friend group, or you like to look into stuff and actually read more than just the headlines, you are amongst your friends. You found your people. And as I was doing my intro, I saw a couple of super chats come in. So Dina says, I love the sweatshirt. Did you just get it from birdiebombshell.com? Thank you for that. I appreciate it. And Adrian 1984 says they took an oath, but they chose shady operations and shady operations. I see what you did there. And investigation. Well said. Well said. And, you know, I want to just, when you hear the word oath, I don't know about you all, but it's like taking an oath, especially as a police officer or military, or if you're in the military, and I'm trying to think of like other things you might take an oath for. I'm sure doctors do, or lawyers do, or judges do. You guys get my point. Now, I've never taken an oath. So from the outside looking in, when I see somebody who holds a position of power take an oath, to me, that's powerful. It's very powerful. I'm sure that for the people that have taken one, it is just as powerful, if not more powerful, because it doesn't seem like it's just words. It seems like it's a promise sworn in front of God, country, people, and with everything inside of you, you're going to uphold it. And so I just don't feel like half truths from the Moscow PD and all other surrounding parties live up to what that oath should be. And I feel a little bit guilty saying that. And that's why I made this next slide, because I don't want to get it confused. But the way that I would sum it up is like, the good cops deserve better. The good judges deserve better. The good doctors, you know, anybody who takes an oath, the good versions of that profession, they deserve better. And I just want to make it absolutely clear that I have the utmost respect for law enforcement officers who honor their oath and truly serve the public. Obviously, anything that I'm saying is not directed at them, but at the few who choose silence, retirement, or transfer over standing up when obvious wrongs are happening. The good cops, the ones who protect, serve, and sacrifice for their communities. They deserve nothing but respect and gratitude. And I would assume that everybody in here probably feels very similar, if not exactly the same to that. So I just wanted to make sure that that was said, because it's not all cops, right? A big conspiracy in a small town police department in little Moscow, Idaho, it's not going to take everybody. It's going to take 1, 2, 3 people. And you can absolutely derail an entire investigation. So, as a reminder, join the 24/7 off-stream Hive Mind. I have a Discord and a Substack. Go ahead and click subscribe on my YouTube channel and then click more. I have the links to birdiebombshell.com where we got some merch. We got new merch coming. I got my TikTok, the Discord, and the Substack. All of the streams are 100% free, so I will never slide into your DMs on TikTok and ask you for money. I'll never direct you over to WhatsApp and ask you for money. I don't have a crypto coin. I am not interested in flirting with anybody, as I've seen screenshots where people are sliding into others' DMs. I'm happily married, love Mrs. Birdie. But the best way to support the stream is subscribe, like it, share it out to your friends and family, spread the word of the Hive far and wide. And that is all that I ask. So, is today Wednesday or Tuesday? It's Wednesday. Okay, so today is the last day to submit for the Hive Mind Roundtable. I'm going to be announcing those members of the Roundtable tomorrow on stream. That will be this Sunday, August 24th at 7 p.m. Central. There is my email, birdiebombshell00@gmail.com. Just put Roundtable in the subject line. Same thing with Hive Mind Finds, guys. If you're going to send me a Hive Mind Find, I love that everybody's sending me stuff. Please, 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 please just put Hive Mind Find in the subject line, even if that's all you put, because otherwise I've noticed a lot of stuff's going to spam, especially if it's just a link, or it's hard for me to find it after I've opened it, or if I move it to a different folder. So that would be all that I ask. But that is going to be this upcoming Sunday. If you're interested in being in it or being on it, send me the email tonight, and I will be choosing them tomorrow. Julie, thank you so much for the super chat. People that don't think bad guys can infiltrate government or LE need to wake up and take their blinders off. Well said. Well said. Heidi, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. All right. The Discord question of the day. This was a trippy one. 1111 had asked, would you rather know the ending of your own story or the truth behind the universe? So I figured this would be a fun one to do with the Hive to get it started. Type of 1, if you would rather know the ending of your own story, or 2, the truth behind the universe. And I'll give it a few seconds here. Thank you. I'm so glad I'm seeing 2s. Okay, good. I feel like knowing the ending of your own story is I mean, it could be extremely traumatic. It could be terribly traumatic, like Final Destination type stuff. But knowing the truth behind the universe, to go on a to go rather like deep into this, I would say, I feel like if you know the truth behind the universe, knowing the story or knowing the ending of your own story probably won't affect you as much. When it happens, how it happens, why it happens. If you know the truth behind the universe, I feel like there's something probably that would be peaceful about that in a way. So Motoman says the truth of the universe is that we're living within a black hole. Sometimes I get tripped out just thinking about, like, if space is real. I mean, some people will know what I mean by that. Other people are going to be like, did Birdie just say if space is real? How vast the universe is mind-boggling. It is absolutely crazy to think about, or at least for me it is. Yeah, I agree. It's trippy. Man, I'm just gonna put some of these up. Oh yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. One of the best analogies for uh like the sky and the firmament is if you've ever seen a boat driving, or if you ever see a boat going on water, and you know how like the wake kind of comes out the side, and then if you look up and you see an airplane flying at high altitude, the wakes, like, they look extremely similar. That's always one that's been like tripped me out, because I'm like, damn, it does look exactly like what a boat on water looks like. It's just up in the sky. Have you guys ever heard the conspiracy? And then I'll get into this. Have you guys ever heard the conspiracy about airplanes and fuel, and how the way that essentially like their engines on the wings, to sum it up in a very simple manner, there's nowhere near as much fuel needed to fly an airplane as they tell us, and that is to jack up the prices. If you guys haven't heard that one, that is a crazy one. I don't remember like the exact name of what that conspiracy would be. It'd be like the jet fuel myth or something like that. But if you look it up, Melissa goes, "Oh, you mean that jet fuel melts steel beams?" Oh, that's awesome. That was hilarious. It's got a sick humor, but it was relevant. All right, guys, let's get into it. I have some really good Hive Mind finds today. I have some video clips all prepared for everybody, and let's get into it. So this first one made me absolutely laugh my ass off this morning. So as you know, and I've seen a few comments about this, there are people that are asking me in the video section on my channel, is this a repost? Why are you reposting it? And that's because some people have said in the comments they don't have time for the full lives. So what I do in the mornings, I usually try to have it up around 10 a.m. I take just like the bulk of the important stuff from the stream. So like Hive Mind finds, the majority of the theme, excuse me, the majority of the theme and what we dive into, tinfoil hat conspiracy today. And I try to do it in like a 30-minute video so that if you don't have time to watch an hour and a half, 2-hour stream, you can watch that. You can be brought up to speed. And if you do jump into the live, you know what we discussed the evening before. So that is why. Just to clear that up. But as I'm editing it, I see in the comments, Lisa White says, saw an older man who said, quote, "Talk birdie to me." I stopped and I asked if it was Birdie Swag and asked if he saw the live show last night. The convo got awkward and he walked away, and I saw the back of his shirt and it was referring to golf. And I was just like, I thought that was so funny and just like so innocent. And I don't know how I missed that comment earlier, but I saw it. I saw it when I was editing, and I was laughing so hard at that. Because I could just picture that. I could like picture my mom doing that. And I think that that's like, you ever like see something funny and you picture somebody in your own life doing that, and it makes it even funnier. So Lisa, you probably didn't even know you were going to be on a Hive Mind find, but I submitted that one myself for this because I thought that was hilarious. Yeah, Bandit Birdie says, poor guy. He probably went out there, just got absolutely wrecked on the golf course, shot a 109, and now somebody's walking up to him asking him if it's birdie swag. And he probably just thinks like, yeah, that's real funny, lady. I got 0 birdies. I'm terrible at golf. Okay. I want to, this one comes from Ben. Ben had sent me this and said, Birdie, check this out. And when I saw the video link, I'm like, oh shit, this is Truth and Neurons. We had Joff on our roundtable, the last roundtable. He's a great guest. So I put a little, award there as a past Hive Mind Roundtable guest. If you guys do not subscribe to Truth and Neurons, they put out great content. It's actually, I believe it's husband and wife that run it together, their channel. So they put this video out. I'm going to show it, but I want everybody to make sure they go over, leave a comment, like it. And Joff, if you're in here, or the other half of Truth and Neurons, great work on this video. I think that this video does a great job. This would be a great video to send to anybody who can't wrap their head around a criminal network and how they operate and how it is extremely parallel to the Idaho 4K. So shout out to Truth and Neurons for this. Great job. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get this up on the screen. And I think you guys are going to agree with me that if you don't know anything about how a criminal network might function as far as putting out a hit and looking at that hit as business and not personal, I think you guys will agree. This does a great job at laying it out. So let me get this up on screen here. All righty.
Hi everyone, it's Ruby G. Welcome to Truth and Neurons. Today we're going to be examining the hard realities of how organised criminal enterprises handle internal problems and why the patterns we've identified in this case align perfectly with professional cleanup operations rather than random violence. Let's start with the fundamental question. Why would organised crime orchestrate what appears to be a multiple homicide with systemic cover-up? The answer lies in understanding how these organisations operate. They operate as businesses first, violent organisations second. Every action serves a business purpose, and violence is simply another tool for protecting profit margins and organisational security. Consider the most logical scenario. Someone within the social circle discovered information that threatened a larger criminal operation. Maybe they were skimming money. Maybe they were cooperating with law enforcement, or maybe they simply knew too much about the wrong people. In organised crime, knowledge is liability, and liability must be eliminated. But here's the crucial part. You can't just eliminate one person when multiple people might have access to the same dangerous information.
This part right here is such... It's so well said, and it's such a logical thought. Most people should be able to wrap their head around this. I'm going to back up a little bit and play that again.
And liability must be eliminated. But here's the crucial part. You can't just eliminate one person when multiple people might have access to the same dangerous information. You have to clean the house completely. This explains the selective targeting pattern. Professional criminal operations don't kill randomly. They kill strategically. The victims weren't chosen because they happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. They were chosen because they represented specific threats to ongoing criminal enterprises.
Yes.
The survivors weren't lucky. They were useful. They were kept alive because they could be controlled, because they had value as witnesses who would support the official narrative, or because they were already part of the organization.
And I don't want to keep stopping it, but this part too, this is just so meticulously laid out. So why would they not touch Dylan and Bethany? Listen to what they say.
They were kept alive because they could be controlled, because they had value as witnesses who would support the official narrative, or because they were already part of the organization. The 8-hour cleanup window makes perfect sense from this perspective. Professional criminals understand that physical evidence is their biggest enemy. They know that modern forensic science can extract DNA, that blood spatter patterns reveal the truth about what happened, that digital evidence can expose communications and planning. 8 hours isn't just opportunity for cleanup. It's necessary time for professional evidence to...
I'm going to read this real quick. So it says, Sergeant Blaker secured a swab from at the conclusion of the interview. She advised, this is obviously DM, she advised there might be it might be difficult to locate the offender's DNA because they had conducted a deep clean of their residence leading up to the parents' weekend. When asked about the deep clean of the residence occurred, it would have been the weekend. Wait, why is this written so hard to read? When asked about when the deep clean of the residence occurred, it would have been before the weekend of the crimes. She was advised there was evidence left in the residence, and she sighed and said she was glad to hear that there was evidence found at the scene. What a weird thing to say when someone's like, oh, yeah, like we'll look for DNA. You say, well, it's going to be hard to find DNA because we cleaned last weekend. Hold on.
Opportunity for cleanup. It's necessary time for professional evidence destruction.
So that says young adults might be forced to delay reporting crimes, provide false information to authorities, help clean up crime scenes, establish alibis for perpetrators, and monitor police activity.
Think about the level of knowledge demonstrated by these witnesses. They casually discuss how deep cleaning would make DNA evidence difficult to locate. They understand forensic timelines, evidence collection procedures, and investigation methodologies. This isn't information you learn in college courses. This is specialized knowledge that comes from experience with criminal investigations or coaching from people who understand the system intimately. The pre-crime deep cleaning is particularly telling. This wasn't routine housekeeping. This was deliberate elimination of existing forensic evidence that might complicate the post-crime narrative. Professional criminals know that DNA or fingerprint evidence in the house before the murders could be used to establish prior connections between victims, perpetrators, and locations. By conducting thorough evidence destruction beforehand, they ensure that any forensic evidence found after the crime supports their chosen narrative rather than revealing inconvenient truths about ongoing relationships and activities. The protection theory that investigators explored that the...
Can I say one thing about this picture too? I've played a lot of beer pong in my life, as I'm sure a lot of people in the Hive have. I find it so weird that these cups are exactly laid the same. Like the same angle. They just look placed. I don't know if they are. People are going to be like, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. Even the cups now are placed. I'm like, I don't know. I've knocked over a shit ton of cups on a beer pong table. None of them ever land the exact same angle as if they're almost like set down in that way. So I'll say that. And the other thing is, I don't care. I'm going to ask the forbidden question because I've seen like 5 comments come in. Type a 1 if you guys think that Dylan or Bethany has something to do with this. I said it. I'm curious. We have a right to ask questions to each other, and we have a right to know what each other think about it. I'm not pointing fingers saying yes or no, but I'm just curious. What do people think? Look at that. Yeah, and you can include in the 1, at the very least, they know more. They know something. Yeah, that's crazy. That might be the most ones that have ever come into a survey when I've said type of 1. Holy hell. They're still going. Wow.
Perpetrator knew her and wanted to protect her is exactly how organized crime operates. They don't kill assets who can serve their purposes. The surviving witnesses weren't random victims who got lucky. They were controlled assets who played specific roles in the operation. Their job was to provide believable witness testimony that supported the single perpetrator theory while avoiding details that might expose the true scope of the criminal enterprise. Here's another hard reality. Organized crime has sophisticated understanding of how law enforcement investigations work. They know that once investigators focus on a single suspect theory, they become psychologically invested in proving that theory rather than exploring alternatives. They know that witness testimony, no matter how implausible, will be accepted if it supports the preferred narrative. They also know that physical evidence can be manipulated or destroyed if you have enough time and knowledge. Most importantly, they know that prosecutors prefer cases they can win over cases that reveal uncomfortable truths about systemic corruption. The plea deal arrangement fits perfectly with organized crime methodology. Trials are dangerous because they require presenting evidence, cross-examining witnesses, and exploring alternative theories. All of these activities risk exposing information that criminal organizations need to keep hidden. Plea bargains, however, end investigations immediately. They prevent discovery processes that might reveal the true scope of criminal activity. They protect ongoing operations by ensuring that only of criminal activity.
Can we also just talk about this picture? I mean, I understand people say a K-bar is a big knife. What in the hell is even that? That looks like if you've ever seen Talladega Nights, where Ricky Bobby is doing all the ads, and he's like, this is the Jackhawk 9000. It's available at Walmart. That's literally what that looks like.
They protect ongoing operations by ensuring that only predetermined information becomes part of the official record. Consider the financial implications. If this was connected to drug distribution, money laundering, or other high-profit criminal activities, the potential losses from exposure could be enormous. Killing a few people to protect millions of dollars in ongoing revenue isn't just logical from a criminal perspective, it's essential business practice. The cost of professional cleanup, witness management, and legal manipulation is minimal compared to the cost of losing established criminal enterprises. The organized crime connection also explains why certain families might have influence over how the investigation was conducted. Criminal organizations don't just operate in isolation. They develop relationships with law enforcement, prosecutors, judges, and other system participants. These relationships aren't necessarily corrupted through bribery. They develop through social connections, political contributions, business relationships, and community influence. When powerful interests want an investigation to reach specific conclusions, they have subtle but effective ways to ensure that happens. The defense team's trauma during court proceedings makes sense if they discovered evidence of systemic corruption extending beyond or separate to their client. Experienced criminal attorneys understand that sometimes they're not just fighting individual cases, they're up against entire systems designed to produce predetermined outcomes.
Boom. On fire. Truth in Neurons is on fire with how they phrase. They put it into words so well of what I myself have tried to explain and what I'm sure a lot of people in the Hive have tried to explain. Right here, this part.
Extending beyond or separate to their client. Experienced criminal attorneys understand that sometimes they're not just fighting individual cases, they're up against entire systems designed to produce predetermined outcomes. When you realize that physical evidence, witness testimony, prosecutorial decisions, and judicial rulings are all being manipulated to protect powerful criminal interests, even seasoned professionals can be overwhelmed by the scope of what they're confronting. The multiple weapons and multiple perpetrators evidence that the defense expert identified creates a massive problem for any cover-up operation. Professional criminals understand that complex crimes require multiple participants, but legal systems prefer simple narratives with single perpetrators.
Again, unbelievable. Just so well said. And I'm going to read this. She described the item the suspect was holding, which she advised was like a cylinder. And she remembered a, quote, cop talking about a bow. So she was trying to ascertain if what she had saw was in fact shaped like a bow. Further stated, she thought that maybe it was a firefighter because of what blank told her about seeing a firecracker, of what Bethany said. Firefighter is now a firecracker. She advised, okay, I can't do this, dude. This is just unbelievable. Your roommate sees a flash and says she thought it was a firecracker. So that is what turned into the firefighter. Guys, like I said, put yourself in an interrogating police officer's shoes. That's the reasoning. One of my roommates saw a firecracker, so maybe it was a firefighter holding a bow. And I'm sorry, but it's like, look, I've been doing this now and I've been putting out theories. I've been hosting this stream. I've been chatting with people. I've had so many people say, no matter what I say, if it is not the narrative, they will disagree. They'll call you disrespectful. Great, cool. Doesn't affect me anymore. Doesn't affect anybody in the Hive anymore. You can only say it so many times until you're blue in the face, till we're like, boom, we don't care. This is weird. We feel like we're being lied to. And so much other shit doesn't add up that it's about damn time we start holding the law enforcement officials accountable then. Okay, fine. Keep the victims out of it. It doesn't matter if it's Dylan or Bethany's name attached to this. You can apply this concept to any case that has corruption in it. You understand that, right? Take Bryan Kohberger out of it. If there is a larger organized crime enterprise that has bought and paid for local law enforcement officials, and their quadruple homicide gets on the world news and it gets exposed, why do we have to just sit there and nod along like a good little NPC and say, yeah, there's nothing to see here. You're right. Kohberger's John Wick and Jason Bourne's child at that point. Jokes aside, it makes no sense. Don't pay attention to what you hear. Don't pay attention to what you see. You don't know how to read police documents. Come on, leave that to the experts. You don't think they would have checked it out? No. Put your head in the sand, nod along, watch the news, and parrot it out onto your Facebook, your Instagram, and your TikTok, and go shame anybody that uses their brain still, for Christ's sake. She thought maybe it was a firefighter because of what Bethany told her about seeing a firecracker. She advised he would have been approximately 3 feet away from her, and she believed she saw him walking out the back sliding glass door. He had looked at her before walking out the back door. She was not certain if he could see her whole body or just her head. At 4:22 a.m., then Dylan or Bethany corrected her time and said at 4:23. She advised she texted Bethany and they conversed about someone wearing all black. And Bethany said something to the effect of, what the fuck? Why is Xana wearing all black? Explained she was not certain if she had been dreaming this or if it was real. Dylan explained she saw the suspect holding something she believed to be cylinder shape and also shaped like a triangle at the bottom of the cylinder shape. She advised the suspect was approximately 3 feet away from her and he looked at her, but he was walking out the sliding door when she saw him. She said she saw his eyebrows. But Kohberger is quiet. Isn't it obvious he's a stalker, creeper, serial killer? He killed them because they were beautiful. But this gets a pass. No connection to the victims. And I'm not... dude, look, I'm telling you right now. I am telling you right now. I don't even feel like I need to keep saying it because it's obvious. I do not want a murderer to get out of prison. But I'm like 99.999999999% positive that Bryan Kohberger did not kill anybody. Bryan Kohberger got absolutely railroaded. Or I'll also just say the forbidden thing. For all we know, Bryan Kohberger's a Fed working in an operation that was already running parallel to take down said criminal organizations.
Criminals understand that complex crimes require multiple participants, but legal systems prefer simple narratives with single perpetrators. The solution is to identify one person who can plausibly be blamed for the entire operation while the actual organisers and participants remain protected. This person becomes the scapegoat, someone with enough connection to the scene to make the charges believable, but not enough power or knowledge to expose the true scope of the criminal enterprise. Here's the most chilling possibility. The actual perpetrators are still operating. They're still running whatever criminal enterprises generated the need for this cleanup operation. They're still making money, still eliminating threats, still manipulating investigations when necessary. The murderers weren't the end of the criminal activity. They were just another day's work in protecting ongoing operations. The systemic acceptance of implausible witness accounts, the failure to investigate obvious evidence tampering, the quick focus on a single suspect, and the ultimate plea deal resolution all serve the same purposes, ending scrutiny that might expose the true scope of organised criminal activity. Every investigative shortcut, every accepted inconsistency, every avoided question protects not just the individual case resolution, but the ongoing operations that generated the need for the violence in the first place. This is how organised crime maintains power, not just through violence, but through systemic control of the systems that are supposed to investigate and prosecute criminal activity. When they can ensure that investigations reach predetermined conclusions, when they can guarantee that witnesses provide supportive testimony, when they can arrange plea deals that prevent trial scrutiny, they're not just covering up individual crimes, they're ensuring that their ongoing criminal enterprises remain protected and profitable. The 8-hour cleanup window wasn't just about cleaning blood evidence. It was about erasing any traces of the criminal activities that led to the need for violence in the first place. The coordinated witness testimony wasn't just about avoiding individual prosecution. It was about protecting the ongoing operations that all of these people depend on for their livelihood. The entire cover-up operation wasn't just about one night of violence. It was about ensuring that a profitable criminal enterprise could continue operating without interference from law enforcement or legal scrutiny. That's why organised crime might orchestrate something this elaborate. Because when your business generates billions of dollars and employs dozens of people, eliminating a few threats and manipulating one investigation is simply the cost of doing business. And when that business has enough power to influence investigations, prosecutions, and judicial outcomes, it's not really a criminal enterprise anymore. It's another form of institutional power that operates outside traditional legal constraints. The most disturbing reality is that this level of systemic manipulation suggests we're not dealing with isolated criminal activity, but with organised interests that have sufficient power and resources to control legal outcomes when necessary. When criminal organisations can orchestrate multiple homicides, manage crime scenes for 8 hours, coordinate witness testimony, influence investigations, and arrange plea deals that prevent trial scrutiny, they're not just committing crimes, they're operating parallel justice systems that serve their interests rather than public safety or legal accountability. That's all for today's episode.
Great work, Ruby and Joff with Truth and Neurons. Great work. Well said, meticulously laid out, sums up what a ton of people have been thinking and feeling about this case. This is their profile over here, everybody. Make sure you guys go show them some love and give them a like or subscribe to them, because that was really well said. And as I'm listening to that, I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of somebody who would be just scoffing. Of course they'd say that. And it's like, why do you believe it in a movie plot on Netflix or Hulu or Amazon? Right? Everybody likes, a Breaking Bad in Ozarks, to name a couple, and there's tons of them. Sons of Anarchy. You can believe that. Why do you think those shows hit so hard and are so good? There's a ton of that going on in real world, real life scenarios. Probably more than even we would guess, at a scale that we don't even notice it because it's at levels that are so high above anybody that even knows they're helping do it. The systemic corruption is the key phrase when it comes to this case. Oh, man. All right. Well, this is also very interesting. Now, Dana had sent me this, and this is the paperwork that Bryan Kohberger had filled out in regards to being harassed. So the type of incident, the PREA, was sexual harassment. I have this down here. You know, the G family's getting what they want with BK getting harassed, and he might have gotten A's in school, but he's going to have D's waiting for him behind those prison walls. Just ridiculous. You know, when you got a lawyer with the standing of Ali Benevento saying that that was just the most disrespectful conduct in a courtroom she's ever heard or seen, and was shocked that the judge didn't stop it, that's telling you something. Look into Ali Benevento and what trials she's been a part of. And if she's saying that, and she's seen some shit, very smart woman, honored to have had her on the stream a handful of times, but that really hit hard when she said that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to make out BK's chicken scratch and what he wrote here. So Bryan Kohberger is writing this to the warden. His issue and concern is, as I continue the SPI phase, I wish to discuss if I may be transferred to another ADSEG setting, such as B block, not engaging in any of the recent flooding / striking, as well as being subject to minute by minute verbal threats and harassment on that and they basis 2 of 5 block is an environment that I wish to transfer from. If possible, I request transfer to B block immediately. I wish to speak with you soon. The reply says, Mr. Kohberger, on any tier at IMSI, there are sometimes disruptions to operations such as residence flooding. On J2, if it is a relatively, even though it's a relatively rare occurrence, and J2 is generally a fairly calm and quieter tier, I do not think that B block would be any better for you. Give it some time. It sounds like a parent telling their kid who's homesick at college, just give it some time. You'll meet some friends. All right, let me go over to this one. I have on several occasions not received all items of food on my tray. I addressed this during service and have yet to receive any replacements. In fact, the kitchen is not even cared. The policy book confirms items missing, which are pointed out at the time of service, will be replaced. I wish to, without exception, receive these replacements. I've tried to solve this problem informally by addressing the issue with staff at the time of meal service. I suggest the following solution for the problem. I wish for the items to be called for and items replaced when this occurs. The nutritional standard is not being upheld unless I have my full tray. And then here's a brief summary. On August 3rd, 2025, resident Kohberger submitted a concern form stating he has been subject to threats and harassment, recently escalating to overt sexually violent threats and statements. Lieutenant Mallant received the concern form on August 4th, 2025, and conducted an interview with Kohberger in J Block. Kohberger stated a resident that goes by Peru told him, "I'll butt fuck you." Kohberger also stated an unknown resident from Tier 1 of J Block said, "The only ass we'll be eating is Kohberger's." Kohberger stated that Officer Signoria was present for the comment made by Peru. Due to Officer Signoria being on B nights, an interview cannot be conducted to attempt to corroborate the allegation. On August 7th, 2025, Officer Signoria submitted an information report outlining his involvement of the alleged incident. Officer Signoria recalls vulgar language being used and directed towards Kohberger, but could not identify who said that. The allegation is substantiated, but due to no aggressor being able to be positively identified and Kohberger saying he feels safe to remain on Tier 2 and J Block, no further actions were taken. The delay in the 105 submission date and the report date is due to collecting all the information to ensure a proper action can be taken as needed. End of report. Wow. I wonder if the warden, and I mean this, it just seems like even in these writings, like he's using commas, he's using like rather, I don't even know what type of like verbiage to use. Seems like he's still trying to be respectful in his complaint. Reminds me almost kind of sounding how that text that they said in Dateline was too formal that it was creepy after the pool party when he said he enjoyed the activity of hiking. Saw a couple super chats come in. Truth Brigade says, "It is reprehensible that they waited so long to call the police. What if they waited to make sure the victims were dead? What if their friends could have been saved with prompt attention? Total BS." I'll even segue off that and say the 911 operator, and it's not hating on 911 operators. I've listened to like 40 calls for 911 operators just as reference calls. Like I've done that on purpose. Not a single one for an unconscious person sounds like, actually not even a single one in general sounds like that. So it took them what, 2.5 minutes is what we came out to, maybe longer before they sent somebody that way, even though we hear police radios in the background. So I don't know. I think that was well said though, Truth Brigade. Paul Taylor, Follow Frame, says, "Something just hit me. Do you think he's washing his hand as a cool DNA knife case so they can not get more dangerous to plant?" Maybe I'm wrong. My thought, something just hit me. Do you think he's washing his hands as a cool DNA knife case so that they can not get more Damn. That's not a bad thought. That's not. I mean, yeah, who knows? They could have said new evidence and then they found this and now he's stuck with even a more dramatic, I don't know. I think that good point. I get what you're saying. That's a good point. Jeremy, can you imagine if BK put out a hit or made the comments SG has made about them getting him in prison? BK would have been charged, but it's okay for Steve to say it. He has it coming in prison. Yeah. Like I said, I'll refer to what Ali Benevento had said because I just don't get it. It's past the point of confusion, Hive. Oh, all right. Now, I want to get into, and I'm just going to refresh everybody's memory here on the theme real quick, which is you took an oath, honor it. And I have the birdie saying, you knew the whole time, didn't you? And this is just what I could put together in time for today's stream. So I put together all of these slides myself every day, going through the emails, going through the Discord, going through the comments, and finding a generalized theme of what I feel the Hive has been talking about from like the last 48 hours, or if something breaks, I try to make the stream about that theme. So this is super interesting, and you guys will see where I'm going with this. It says victims were, quote, double tapped, and the weapons don't match the scene. If someone says they were double tapped in the context of a homicide investigation, it usually means the victim was shot twice in rapid succession. Now, this was an interview, and this is from the ISP reports. I'm just going to read this Van Leuven interviewed Latah County Sheriff's Chief Deputy Timothy Best regarding information he had received related to the homicides. Best advised he had received information from blank at blank related that he had received a phone call from and said sounded drunk, lived at blank in Moscow, Idaho. This address is approximately 350 feet from the house where the homicides occurred. Blank advised his uncle, this is just crazy. Like I've said, Moscow is a portal to hell, everybody. This is just unbelievable. Blank advised his uncle used to work for the ATF and that he had his uncle's ATF hat and jacket. Blank said he put on his hat and jacket and walked into the crime scene when the bodies were being removed. Blank said that he had walked into the crime scene and observed the blood evidence. Blank said he spoke to a Moscow police officer named Blank. Blank is not a Moscow police officer. He was a recruit, but didn't make it off FTO. Blank said he wanted to search his house, but he said that he would not give him consent and said Blank would have to talk to his landlord. So this dude goes and takes his uncle's ATF hat and jacket and just walks into a quadruple homicide scene. Unbelievable. He then goes on to say that Blank said he described the crime scene as shooting a deer inside of an apartment building. Further told that he was outside of the house getting ready for a hunting trip when he heard a car starting up at approximately 3:45 on the morning of the homicides and saw a car come from the area of the homicide and drove past his house. He had no vehicle description other than it was a car. Now, this is where I'm going. You guys will see the direction I'm going. First of all, he says he described the crime scene as shooting a deer inside of an apartment building. Blank told Blank that all of the victims were double tapped in the house. He made no mention of anyone being stabbed. Described a blood trail in the house that led toward the bathroom, but that he, quote, didn't make it. Said he went hunting that day near Deary with a man named blank blank. Said there were reporters near his house setting up to shoot video, and one of the reporters had backed into his vehicle. This interview was audio recorded. The recording was later placed on a disc, and the disc will be transferred to Moscow PD to never be seen again. Nothing further. Oh, man. It's crazy. Double tapped. Now, I'm going to play this from last night. You guys tell me if this sounds like 2 gunshots in rapid succession. Man, I always forget to turn the volume up. Wow. I'll play the 2 Just crazy. So we have that. And now let's not forget about what we hear in this enhanced 911 call. I'm going to go through how many different times we've heard about them being shot. And on top of this guy who is drunk and put his uncle's ATF hat and jacket on and walked into a quadruple homicide scene and said that it looked like somebody shot a deer in an apartment building and that all the victims were double tapped. Never saw anybody that was stabbed.
11, if you call it.
I did that volume thing again.
If you call AM 42, 2nd November 13, 2022. 911 location of your emergency. Whatever you have drugs of the emergency. Okay. What is the rest of the address? Okay. Well, okay. And is that a house or an apartment? It's a house. Can you repeat the address to make sure that I have it right? I'll talk to you guys. She was the white shower next to them. I need someone to repeat the address for verification. The address 11222 Road. And what's the phone number that you're calling from? So 3731. So tell me exactly what's going on. One of the roommates is passed out, and she was drunk last night. It's not waking up. Okay. Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night. Yeah, you just. Hi, and are you with the patient? Okay, I need someone to keep the phone, stop talking it around. Can I just tell you what happened pretty much? What is going on currently? Is someone talked out right now? I don't really know, but pretty much at 4 a.m. Okay, so I need to know what's going on right now if someone is talked out. Can you find that out? No, come on, we need to go check. No, we have to.
Oh shit. Damn. I'll play just that one part a couple times quick. I know we've all heard it, but just for those people that are maybe new. They've been shot at the entrance, is what I heard. It's just crazy. And I have this audio posted on my channel as well. And then to hear it from the family themselves, I played this last night, so I'll just play a little bit of it.
The phone call the Gonzalez.
There was a party last night, and Kaylee, somebody went in and shot the party up, and Kaylee was shot.
I mean, damn, why do I keep doing that? I'm so sorry, Hive.
The phone call.
I threw my phone, I was like, what? And somebody went in and shot the party up, and Kaylee was shot last night. And Kaylee, somebody went in and shot the party up, and Kaylee was shot. I was like, what? And I just threw my phone. I threw my phone. I started screaming. I started telling everybody to call Olivia and to get all of her roommates on the phone. And I started calling Maddie.
So now we have, and like I said, I played that last night, so I don't want to keep repeating that. So that's from the family, which I did point out last night that I want to reiterate. Somebody had called them prior to the police, prior to them hearing about it, and it was their niece, said somebody went to a party and shot it up. Kaylee's been shot. Okay. Then they said they turn on their TV, they see an unconscious person, so they go, maybe. And then Olivia says she gets a call. She's like, Mom, somebody's just saying that, Kaylee's been shot. And then Steve calls the police and they don't give him information. So I don't understand how they would have had unconscious people on the news already at that point. I don't see how the cops wouldn't give a parent information. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. Maybe there's been situations like that. But I feel like in a shooting that just happened and you're calling them saying people are calling us, has my daughter been shot, or called the hospital, whoever he said that he had called. And then you hear they've been shot on the audio. You hear what sounds like 2 gunshots, and don't forget about the part where they said they killed Xan and Ethan already. And then you got the drunk guy in his uncle's ATF hat and jacket that says it looks like they were double tapped and there was no mention of anyone being stabbed. How in the hell does that point to Bryan Kohberger in any way, shape, or form? Oh, and Dylan said that because Bethany saw a firecracker that a fireman's inside. And as 1111 said, or somebody had said, yeah, because it's, or UFO Dog, one of them had said, it's really normal for a firefighter to show up at 4 a.m. unannounced and throw firecrackers in a house. Maybe they were bored on the job and they're like, you know what? I'm going to go start a fire by throwing a firecracker. That way, I don't just have to sit in the firehouse and play Xbox and game. I can just go put out this fire. I mean, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. Oh. All right. And then I have an announcement to make for this coming up Friday. Fridays are going to be the live dig Friday, or live dig Fridays is what I'm calling it. And Translucent, shout out to Translucent, posted raw 1112 King audio. So I have began downloading little sections of it to put into Soundtrap. But before I go, and I'm going to play a few minutes of it, because if you guys haven't heard it, I'm going to play like 5-10 minutes of it. And if you guys listen to it before Friday or email me what you guys hear around certain timestamps, we can dive into those spots specifically. So the stream is not over, but this has been a tinfoil hat conspiracy of the day, like a highly requested one. It's very popular. I'm sure everybody's heard weird stuff about Denver Airport. So rather than kind of talk about the whole gist of it, I went and I found what I thought would be the top 10 craziest things about the Denver airport. And I'll just read through them really quick. There was a mysterious budget blowout from 89 to 95. Their budget was 1.7 billion, but it ballooned all the way to 4.8 billion, and it was over 3 years late. During construction, a state-of-the-art automated baggage system was built and promptly failed with that high of a budget. Whistleblowers say the system was a cover story for miles and miles of underground tunnels. A lot of insiders claim that these tunnels link to deep underground military bases, or DUMBs. There's a time capsule and Masonic plaque from 1994. It's a Masonic symbol, the words New World Airport Commission, a group that doesn't exist. Seriously, it does not exist. You can look it up. And a time capsule scheduled to be opened in 2094 filled with mysterious contents. The runways are shaped like a swastika, and if you don't believe me, let's see if I can pull this up quick. You guys can totally see it. That is crazy. You know, someone drew on it right there. That's what they're shaped like. In addition, there's Apocalyptic Murals of Doom, 2 massive murals by artist Leo Tenguma. Gas mask soldiers with machine guns, children lying in coffins, cities burning, and a phoenix rising from the ashes. A one world society of smiling children around a glowing plant. Then there's Blucifer, the demon horse, the 32-foot, this is so trippy, the 32-foot tall blue horse statue with glowing red eyes, nicknamed Blucifer, was installed outside the airport in 2008. It literally killed its creator, artist Luis Jimenez, when a piece of the statue fell on him. There's strange markings and alien glyphs. Passengers have reported strange, unexplained symbols on walls and floors throughout the airport. The airport is art covered. So the airport covered its art, removed or replaced all of it since between 2012 and 2015. A lot of people say that it was because the murals were too controversial, but there was no explanation. They were just removed. And then renovations sparked more questions in 2018. The DIA launched a massive renovation campaign, complete with tongue-in-cheek Illuminati references on construction walls. Posters read things like, "What are we doing? Adding new restaurants or building secret underground tunnels for the Illuminati?" It's either the greatest troll ever, or they're mocking the public with their real agenda in plain sight, which I wouldn't put that past them. So, final thought is, I don't think it's just an airport. I think that there is definitely something being hidden there, and I think it's quite crazy, actually. So that is the tinfoil hat conspiracy today. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Translucent's page quick, and I want to pull this up because if you guys have not heard this, it is pretty crazy. All right, here we go. So, Sherlock, I know you're in here, but I saw your post. I think the entire thing has a ton of noise, but right around 4 a.m. gets pretty crazy. So I could pick a random spot, and I'll pick right here after this car pulls up. I'm seeing a couple people say 3:45, so I'll do that. So you guys can hear voices kind of, right? So I have this loaded up here, and like I said, I just wanted to play around with this. I have not done this yet, but this starts at 3. So I have part 1, 2, 3, and 4, but I'm going to do part 2, 340. So this starts at 340 timestamp in the video we were just watching. So let's play this. Let's see if we can. Car driving. No, there's no audio, really. 1 second. I don't know. I'm sitting here like so dialed in trying to listen to it. My bad. Thank you guys. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And Z, I will look into this. I'm so curious about the signatures because there was like a Joe Biden signature too that looked different that kind of tripped me out. That I was like, how is that signature changed that late in your political career? And then do you think he will ever get an interview? Man, I'd be curious as hell. That would probably be one of the most watched interviews ever. Okay. Tell me if you guys can hear this, please, God. Yes? No? Okay, good. What does that sound like? What time is Gun Rack Guy on the car park footage? Sorry, UFO dog. Help me, Xana. So I gotta fix that. This tone though. Where did the vocals go? There we go. Sorry, I'm just messing with it. Obviously, I'm doing this live. I really wanted to try to get this clear so we can get at least like one clip. Let's go to this other one. That doesn't sound like shit. Okay, here we go. All right, we got one. Wow. So so just so everybody knows here, I'll type it in the chat. This clip started at 3:40:16. So you got to add 1 minute 28 and 3. But this is the time. This is my part 2. So if you guys want to screenshot that, that's when this audio starts. The time is down here where we're at. So you would have to add 1 minute 28 seconds to 3:14. It's like I can hear stuff, but I can't. It's so quiet. Is that getting clearer for everybody? That feels like it's clear. It's getting clearer. Man, that background noise is rough. Let's do loud and clear. Let's see if we hear that. Did you? Okay. I'll just shut up. I want to hear. I want to see what you guys think or what you hear about, like, coming up right here. I want to go back further. But I hope I can get this clearer because I can hear it. I hear, oh, that guy. Well, I don't want to say it because I don't want to have people be biased about it after they hear it. And I'm not doing anything. I just want to get one clip for this so that on Friday we can start with this clip and then I can remember the settings that got it clear. All right. Where's the vocals one? I don't know. I'm hearing, oh, that guy's got a gun. Well, nonetheless, Hive, that's what the live dig on Friday will be for. Translucent has that video posted. I am obviously still getting the grip of Soundtrap. I'm not Outcast. I'm not any audio engineer, but I do enjoy clicking around and messing around here in the Hive, seeing what everybody else hears. I saw a couple other super chats pop in there. Julian said, for fun, I've heard the 911 call so many times that when I have a chore and I don't want to do it, I can't help but hear, but you have to. And Dylan's, Jesus Christ. We are spending too much time looking into this case, but it's for a good cause. It's to find the truth. So with these cameras being so far from the house, Nicole D says it just is not possible that one of the following, A, B, and D didn't hear them, or B, it was done on site. I completely agree. I completely agree. So Hive, please go and press the like and subscribe button on your way out of the chat. I will be back on live tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Central. If you're new here, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. And with that, I hope everybody has a great night. Cheers, Hive.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life.